Welcome to the Pitch Room. Listen, if you are preparing for the Cambridge AS and A-Level Arabic 9680 exam, consider me your new managing director, your venture capital pitch doctor, and your guide to securing the ultimate funding round, that top-tier A-star grade. Today, in this masterclass explainer, we are running a full Silicon Valley-style exam pitch competition. We're going to completely deconstruct the ultimate high-stakes market opportunity, Passage 1, Comprehension. This is the section that completely bankrupts so many candidates' valuation right out of the gate. But not yours. We are going to decode the content and quality of language requirements straight from the official Cambridge Examiner reports. Throughout this explainer, I want you to picture a live grade valuation meter hovering right in front of you, mapping your baseline score all the way up to that $1 million maximum tier marking band. And to help us test these strategies, I'm bringing in two hypothetical founders who represent the classic mistakes I see every single year. First, we have Alex. Alex is our highly technical developer. He overloads his essays with raw code, raw facts, and textbook data dumps, but he completely lacks a monetization strategy, which, in exam terms, means he has zero evaluation skills. On the other side of the room, we have Sam. Sam is a charismatic marketer. Sam delivers highly persuasive, beautiful flowing narratives, but has absolutely zero data backing up the claims, totally ignoring the actual command word constraints. Over the next 20 minutes, we are going to audit their pitches, re-architect their logic, and show you exactly what it takes to max out your grade valuation. So lock in.
Okay, let's dive into the core market metrics here. 15%. Passage 1 comprehension accounts for approximately 15% of your total marks in Paper 2. In venture capital terms, that is a massive total addressable market. Think about that for a second. This isn't just some minor beta test section you can speed run through. This is your core intellectual property. This is a massive opportunity to secure your baseline operational grade. If you can master the structural mechanics of this one specific passage, you are literally building an unassailable financial fortress around 15% of your entire paper's valuation before you even look at the rest of the exam. Most students leave this equity on the table because they treat it like a simple translation exercise, but we aren't most students. We are scaling this asset to the absolute limit.
Now let's review the term sheet. Here is our masterclass blueprint for today. First, we are breaking down the 15% opportunity and how to secure it. Second, the core academic principles, the exact algorithms examiners use to grade your paper. Third, we'll deploy a procedural framework, a step-by-step execution pipeline for your answers. And finally, we will run an audit on the top examiner warnings so you can avoid the classic traps that crash your valuation. Consider this your definitive examiner's playbook. Let's execute.
Initiating Phase 1, the 15% opportunity and securing that baseline. We need to analyze why so many students deliver what I call a drifting MVP pitch, a minimum viable product that completely misses the mark when interpreting complex texts. Let me tell you a quick story about Alex, our technical founder. Alex came into the war room the other day, slammed a practice paper on the desk and said, "Look, I found the exact right fact hidden in the paragraph. Why didn't I get full marks?" And I had to point out to the method mark strategy. You see, in Passage 1 comprehension, the conceptual framework isn't just about pulling the correct output out of a black box. The examiners act like highly critical institutional investors. Marks are actually awarded for the process, the underlying algorithm. They're looking for systematic analysis. They're demanding evidence-based reasoning. They want to see the clear working of your brain. It's like pitching a revolutionary app without showing the back-end infrastructure. They want to see exactly how you arrived at your conclusion based on the text string provided. If you just drop an answer without showing the logical step-by-step deployment that brought you there, your grade valuation meter crashes. You are leaving massive equity on the table. You have to prove the method.
That brings us perfectly to Phase 2, core academic principles. This is where we look at the exact due diligence criteria the examiners use. What do these institutional investors actually want to see before they fund your A-star grade?
We track this using a live market risk chart, mapping your assessment objectives, or AOs. It all comes down to three distinct cognitive domains. AO1 is knowledge and understanding. Think of this as your seed funding. It's the absolute bare minimum required to get in the room. AO2 is analysis. That's your Series A funding, where you prove your product actually works in the market. And AO3 is evaluation. That is your IPO, your $1 million public offering. The Cambridge Arabic syllabus targets all three of these domains, and the most elite, high-scoring candidates demonstrate seamless competence across the entire stack. Here is the problem. Sam, our charismatic marketer, tries to jump straight to the IPO. Sam writes these gorgeous, sweeping conclusions, evaluating the text beautifully, but skips the seed funding. Sam shows no fundamental understanding of the specific Arabic vocabulary used. On the flip side, Alex only secures seed funding. Alex perfectly translates the text, but never analyzes or evaluates its broader impact. If your pitch only hits one objective, your valuation is heavily capped. You have to scale through all three objectives perfectly.
And this brings us to the co-op founder re-architecture debate. I had Alex and Sam in the boardroom, and they were fighting over how to structure a model paragraph. Alex wanted to focus entirely on deep textbook definition dumps, just completely overloading the slide deck with raw data. That is what we call superficial breadth. It's generic, it's wide-ranging, and examiners hate it. Sam, however, wanted to build a direct analytical thesis string to lock in the top band marks, but had no specific textual evidence. As they argued, I could literally see their simulated grade valuation meter plummeting towards zero. The true academic benchmark, the thing that gets you the maximum valuation, is analytical depth. It is highly structured, logical reasoning. You cannot just list 10 random things you memorized about the topic. It is about taking one highly specific data point from the text, isolating it, and analyzing it with incredible depth and precision. You have to trade that superficial breadth for a deeply engineered, laser-focused analytical product.
Now, I'm going to give you a massive insider secret pulled directly from the principal examiner reports to help you build that analytical depth. It's called cross-topic connections. Think of this as building an integrated software ecosystem. Top candidates do not view Passage 1 as a standalone app running in a vacuum. Instead, they integrate different syllabus areas. They highlight causal relationships to show a massive holistic understanding of the entire subject architecture. If you can reference broader themes, sociocultural contexts, or linguistic principles from other parts of your Arabic 9680 syllabus, and seamlessly API connect them logically to the specific text in Passage 1, your valuation skyrockets. The examiners explicitly note that candidates who build these cross-topic ecosystems achieve significantly higher marks. It proves to the board that you actually understand the overarching architecture of the language in the syllabus, rather than just treating it as a bunch of isolated, fragmented code strings.
All right, we know the theory, but how do we actually deploy this under exam conditions? Let's transition to Phase 3, the procedural framework. This is your step-by-step execution pipeline.
I put Alex and Sam into a simulated tech war room, set a brutal countdown clock on the wall, and forced them to run their answers through this exact, standardized, 5-step deployment sequence. Whenever you tackle a Passage 1 comprehension question, you run this pipeline without hesitation. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. What is the precise command word? Is it analyze or evaluate? Because if you give a descriptive pitch when they asked for an evaluative framework, you instantly lose your margin. Step 2. Extract relevant data from the stimulus material. Isolate your concrete evidence. Step 3. Select your analytical framework. Step 4. Execute your analysis with crystal clear notation. Remember, you have to earn those process marks. And finally, Step 5. Verify your results and present them using peak academic terminology. If you force yourself into this strict sequence every single time you practice, you absolutely guarantee that you hit every single technical compliance requirement in the exam. No drifting, no guessing, just pure, scalable execution.
Valuation pause. Stop the clocks. Before we unlock this ultimate top-pan paragraph architecture that will completely scale your final grades, we need to optimize your educational asset flow. Take exactly 1 second right now to hit subscribe on Ace the Exams, that's at Ace the Exams, and turn on all your notifications. You absolutely do not want to miss our weekly high-yield strategy drops, whether you are hacking exams at IGCSE, O-levels, or AS and A-levels. Consider it your weekly venture capital injection. Okay, clock's back on. Let's look at the ultimate bug-fixing algorithm, the Deconstruct, Solve, Evaluate Paradigm, or DSE. Think of this as your core operating system. You identify the given information, you break it into logical, systematic steps to solve the prompt, you run a diagnostic check for reasonableness, and then, crucially, you justify your decisions with hard evidence. Top-scoring candidates use this exact paradigm to demonstrate elite evaluative thinking. They use it to question assumptions in the text, consider alternative perspectives, and output a highly polished evaluation. This is how you secure that AO3 IPO funding we talked about earlier. Now, right in the middle of our war room simulation, Alex and Sam hit a massive system bug. They were given a question requiring them to compare 2 different viewpoints in the text, and their evidence links completely dropped out. Their logic flow crashed because they ignored the strict API rules for comparative analysis. Look at the compliance rules on this protocol. When comparing, you cannot just list the traits of Object A and then list the traits of Object B. That is a total valuation crash. You must identify similarities and differences. You must use precise comparative connectives, words like however, similarly, or in stark contrast. You have to support every single comparative node with hard textual evidence. And finally, you must draw an overarching conclusion about their relative weight or importance. The examiner needs to see the dynamic relationship between the variables, not just two isolated data dumps. I had to step in with a structural optimization matrix, forcing Alex to build the evidence and Sam to build the connective tissue. And together, they finally debugged the paragraph.
We are now entering Phase 4, Top Examiner Warnings. I am handing control over to you for an interactive venture audit. We need to look at the exact pitfalls and compliance liabilities that will tank your pitch on exam day.
For our first interactive challenge, I call this the Rapid Market Scan. I want you to imagine a complex Arabic text case study on your screen right now, with a 60-second visual countdown timer ticking away. Your job is to isolate the single highest value core trend before time runs out. The pressure is on. What do most students do under this pressure? They panic, and they trigger this massive compliance liability straight from the principal examiner reports. The classic mistake is providing generic answers not specific to the question context. Always link every point to the given scenario. Think about that. If you panic during the scan and you just regurgitate a beautifully memorized generic Arabic phrase or textbook definition without hard-coding it directly to the specific passage scenario in front of you, the valuation board gives you zero funding for that point. None. Context is the absolute king of this exam.
Let's run challenge number 2, identify the compliance liability. I want you to mentally audit a flawed, medium-tier sample student response. Look for these top 3 critical mistakes that create massive liabilities. Number 1, forgetting proper format. Number 2, failing to check presentation. And number 3, our generic answer trap. Let's really drill down on those first 2, because this is where brilliant students throw away easy capital. Presentation is literally your user interface and user experience for the examiner. If your structural formatting is a mess, if you aren't using proper headings, if you lack clear annotations and correct terminology, the examiner cannot parse your logic flow. It's like pitching a brilliant piece of software with a broken, unreadable interface. The investors will just walk away. If they can't easily follow your logical working, you instantly throw away those easy method mark strategy points we secured back in Phase 1. Keep your UI clean, professional, and compliant.
We are at the final stage. Series A funding is almost complete. Alex and Sam have perfectly merged their skill sets. They deliver their newly engineered, beautifully contextualized, highly analytical response paragraph, and we all watch the grade valuation meter surge and lock in at the maximum A-star score. To make sure you can replicate their success and never freeze up when the exam clock starts ticking, here is your ultimate encryption key, a memory hack. Create a custom mnemonic using the first letters of our key procedural terms. For example, DSE for deconstruct, solve, evaluate. Lock that encryption key into your brain right this second. The very first thing you do when you sit down for paper 2 and the invigilator says begin is write that mnemonic at the top of your paper. It acts as an immediate, calming system reboot, reminding you of the exact, uncompromising procedural framework you are going to deploy on every single question.
So, as we close this pitch competition, I am distilling this entire session into 3 universal rules for you to deploy. 1. The 3-step question scan for decoding command words. 2. The scale budget allocation for managing your time. And 3. The final quality review checklist to ensure your UI is clean. I leave you with this final, provocative venture challenge. If Cambridge examiners value the process of your analysis just as highly as the final product, how exactly are you going to structure your very next practice paper to prove your ultimate analytical depth? Don't just passively read these texts, deconstruct them, evaluate them, and relentlessly show you're working. Here's your final call to action. I want you to subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams right now. Smash that notification bell so you never miss our weekly grade masterclasses. And right now, I want you to drop a comment below sharing exactly which Cambridge subject and level, whether it's IGCSE, O, AS, or A level, that you are preparing to conquer next. Thank you for stepping into the pitch room for this explainer. Keep optimizing, keep executing, and I will see you in the next masterclass.